Traders, welcome back to another price action trading lesson. Today's session opened with bullish bias, bullish leg that had a break, and attempted to create new extreme, which is exactly what happened according to trendline rule. Downtrend played out, and right now I can see that the structure is not a trend range. When I'm going to analyze the chart, there's a slight bullish bias, so I'm going to be paying attention how price action is going to react to this 21 bar exponential moving average, and we broke higher. This was quite a strong bullish push up. So I'm not going to be drawing wider downtrend, and more importantly, this confirmed the overall bullish bias because we created a low that is higher than all of these previous lows. So definitely some bullish bias in the market, and we have high-low confirmation setup, but we can see this formed exactly around the open. And we don't want to be taking setups around the open because there can be spike in volatility, little fake out. You can get stopped by one tick and see it to go where you thought it was going to go. So decent setup, but unfortunately bad timing. EMA keeps holding. Can we get a failed second entry short after market subsides a little bit? And we cannot. The market continues to work higher. So I'm going to redraw a shortened channel, but I can see particular market structure behavior. You have a push phase, correction phase, push phase, correction phase, another push phase. This is exactly how trends play out in price action. So we have high that is higher than the previous high, low that is higher than the previous low. Definitely, we are in a bullish trend. So there's a nice spike and a channel possibility for me. So I like drawing this spike and a channel because as a trader, you always want to find the main pattern. So right now I want to see two-legged pullback, second entry long at the EMA using the counting technique. I'm resetting the count at each new high. First entry long. By the time I get a second entry long, it's far from the EMA. At the very top of the move into this double top, I cannot go long here. I needed to see market pull back closer to the EMA. Okay, now we're breaking below EMA. I'm not interested. New high first entry long. I need to see push above EMA if I'm going to go long. Okay, so what you're expecting? You're expecting similar scenario as was right here. You want to see push above EMA and a high low or failed second entry short. So we're breaking above EMA. Can we get a little pullback and a high low? And we cannot. Market just continues to work higher. So this time market didn't allow us to capitalize on this push phase. But if you were expecting a high low here, that's a good play. So you were reading this correctly. That's always good to know. So I'm going to reset the count at each new high. Correction phase, another push phase finished. So naturally, I'm expecting a brand new correction phase. And once again, I'm going to buy a low, second entry long. Okay, first entry long. And once again, first entry long only into new high. So no entries right now. I'm going to redraw the short-term downtrend. And market is breaking the channel. So this means that right now I expect for market to create new high for this bullish channel following the trendline rule. I can also see there's some support here being formed. This is resembling right now a little bit of a consolidation. A lot of moves up and down, up and down. EMA is flattening. We have a big bullish bar. You're buying at the bottom, visual double bottom. Decent entry, but more advanced because the downtrend doesn't have new extreme. But you expect new high. Now high low is once again below EMA, so I'm thinking about failed second entry short because bearish attempt could result into a trap. And now we have a failed second entry short. But notice the signal bar. The half of its body is bearish tail, which means at the close, selling pressure increased. Combined with the flat EMA and little congestion, I cannot go long just yet. Good context. Actually, had the bar been smaller, let's say there was no tail at the top, just close here, I would like going long here even with the congestion because it is not that horrible. But if I'm going to combine the flat EMA in the stacked area with the tail at the top, not ideal signal bar. I want to see high-low breakout pullback, confirmation setup, can get it. And market continues to break lower. Okay, this was a little bit surprising, but it can happen. Why? Because if you're going to look back, remember this downtrend, this one leg down still can get new low. So this is what I always keep in back of my mind, that there can be potential retest. So I can only go long if I'm going to get push above EMA and some hollow or failed second entry short, because you can see I never know how far the market is going to correct. Okay, so this looked really hopeful for the bulls. I really thought we were going to get new high. I was thinking high low confirmation setup. That never formed. We have only double bottom, not fully new low. So market can correct, and now we created new extreme. Okay, so when I was watching this live, I was really expecting that we're going to get push above EMA and a failed second entry short, but notice what happened. Market continued to break lower. And when I'm in a situation like this, I always need to ask myself a couple of questions. First of all, did we retrace too far down for us to get new extreme? Now, when I'm in a situation like this, generally when we retraced over the 60% mark, you adapt to a brand new downtrend. Here we were exactly around the 50%. So it was a bit confusing. I was still leaning more towards price action getting new extreme. But had I actually been measuring from this point where the bullish bar started, you can argue, okay, we already retraced that 60% mark. So let's see what's going to happen. It is generally not a good idea to redraw a brand new downtrend after the first one gets new extreme. But this is what the day is shaping up to be. So let's see what's going to happen, how the EMA is going to react. Okay, price action keeps correcting. We have a first leg up break. Okay, second entry short, horrible bar, I cannot sell. And now we have a lower high confirmation setup. Now, new low, first leg, pullback, second leg. Horrible second entry short, below bullish bar. And this is a lower high confirmation setup. Great single bar, but it is a little bit stacked. But you can see it can visually act sort of like a breakout, pullback. And because these two legs are so broad and there is some resistance here, you can consider selling. I didn't take this setup when I was watching this live because I was really surprised we will not retest the new extreme. By the way, that can happen. Anything can happen in price action. 90% of the time, it will get new extreme, but there are those few instances where it won't. So you always want to make sure you're analyzing the price action. And once these two legs are so broad and EMA keeps holding, that's basically a sign that bulls can't even push above EMA. And this is great lower high confirmation of the visual. Two-legged pullback. Market keeps breaking lower. And there's a possibility for us to draw wider downtrend like this because it is getting confirmed here on the first entry short. And we have new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. The bar is quite big, so you may want to use limit order to decrease the risk a little bit. But this right here is the second entry short. By the time we get lower high, it is too far down, too close to these lows, and market created new extreme. So I'm going to mark new low at the time. Let's see what's going to happen. Market keeps breaking above the EMA. After new low, I'm pausing, looking to sell. Okay, and market keeps continuing to work higher on the geometric formation of a spike and a channel. You can see we spiked up, and now these bars are smaller and smaller. The second leg is much slower, resembles a spike and a channel pattern. There is no long setup. I was thinking second entry long, okay, but we broke below, so this completely negated all the bullish bias. So right now we really need to be careful. The bias really is now getting unclear because we traded down. There's a small breaking low, spike and a channel needs new high, but why did we break below EMA again? And remember, you want to take a setup where everything aligns. If you have doubts what is the bias, which channel is going to get new extreme first, that's not a good sign to be placing the setup, okay, because the risk increases dramatically and it is not a high probability setup. So you got to be careful. Okay, there was a possibility for you to look for failed second entry long, but it didn't trigger above this bar. And more importantly, there's a small break in new extreme. And if I'm going to widen it like this, it doesn't fit that well, you know, very borderline. And why this spike in the channel doesn't have new high? So remember, when you're asking so many questions about the bias, you have to be objective and you cannot be pulling the trigger on these setups because sometimes there can be a good signal bar and it can be the only factor that's going to convince you to take a setup, and you cannot fall for this. Signal bar is the last piece of confirmation. The context and key entry point is all what matters. Okay, we have a break new extreme. Market created the new high. Now we have a lower high confirmation setup, but look at the signal bar. The signal bar is horrible. You know, had we at least had a little bit better bar, you could have considered selling here because you have a break new high. Resistance is holding, but look at the signal bar. You don't want to redraw a brand new uptrend like this because this was the leg that created new high for this channel, okay? So you don't want to redraw channel for the leg that is creating a new high because you could be doing this indefinitely and negating the trendline rule. So this would have been okay setup, but the signal bar on my chart is bad. If you had better bar, decent setup. Okay, there was no failed second entry long. We have a new high first entry long, second entry long, horrible bar. You can sort of reset the count here and a second entry long here. but you know, feels a bit too early. This was such a steep spike down, though according to range rules, most breakouts will fail. But a little bit more advanced, and now we have high-low confirmation setup of the second entry long. Nice tier 1 signal bar, not that big, only 2-point stop loss. This is a great high probability setup. High-low confirmation entry of the failed breakout, and technically the second entry long form here, but this is such a horrible second entry long above bearish bar, and you can see resistance here, so it allows you to reset the count, and this was the real juicy second entry long after count reset. Either way, it confirms the failed breakout. It is back at the support, decent high probability setup, and now we have a small break new high, so I gotta be careful. Following these short-term channels, you can see break new extreme. Also for the downtrend, this tells you that you can trust the high low because the downtrend played out with the break new extreme, break a new high. So we have bounce off the support, but I cannot go long because all channels to the upside played out, and there's a chance that this downtrend is going to get new extreme. Okay, so there's a new high, first entry long, potentially second entry long, but the uptrend played out. So we are right now, once again, this would be the setup that can be tempting, but you don't have any good key entry point to, you know, give you confidence. So be careful. Your market is just congestion. Okay, now I cannot take a setup. Too much of a congestion. I can see definitely lower highs, empty room here. So it looks like the market will break to the downside. At this point, you can start to make a case. Hold on. Was this downtrend a little bit wider? Because you can see price action just keeps trending lower. And once you're here, you're probably thinking, okay, it makes sense that there are lower highs in this market. The channel is probably a little bit wider like this. So there's a big chance that there's going to be new low for this downtrend. So this is how you can update this channel. If you had this channel in play the whole time, not that big of a deal. There really weren't that many setups anyway to sell. But you probably would have missed this decent high low because you would be still expecting new extreme. But this range was so established that this is a great setup either way. Now this would have been a great lower high had it been part of this second entry short, but we created new low that is lower than this one, so we can count as a first entry short. You know, it is also quite big, 4-point stop loss. Yeah, we can't take it. We create a new extreme, break new low. Can we get a failed second entry short above EMA? There is no entry here, new low, no break lower. Doesn't matter, there's a bearish bar, there is no tick lower. So first entry short, we have a second entry short failure. New low, first entry short, second entry short. Great setup context wise. Setup like this would have been perfect had there been bullish bar, because this downtrend is weak. This is not a strong downtrend by any means. Notice weak downtrend, broad pullback. So once this pullback is so broad a trend range, you can really trust the reversal now. But the signal bar is so bad. I'm going to mark it from educational perspective if you have better bar here, because this is a really good setup to understand, because these reversal patterns here are really great. Once the break to new extreme is so sideways, but there unfortunately was just a horrible bar. So can you get a second entry long? No second entry long, market reverse. So we retraced the majority of the uptrend. So let's see, we have a second entry short, but the body is far from the EMA, and there is short-term uptrend working higher. Okay, and we had overshoot. Okay, so I'm not taking the second entry short. At the same time, I'm not going long. And you can see price action right now is getting very veggie. What does it mean when I say veggie? It means it's resembling something like this. And this is really choppy price action because this uptrend needs new high and this downtrend needs new low. So once you have these both channels that need new extreme and we are stuck in this wedge, anything can happen. You cannot take any setup, doesn't matter how good it is. It was very tempting to go long here. You know, I can mark it. I was almost about to take it. The wedge scared me a little bit, so I hesitated. But if you took this up right here, not a bad entry, but hopefully it makes sense that just because there's a good signal bar, you cannot ignore the wedge. Why this downtrend doesn't have new extreme? Okay, which channel is going to get new high first? There is no clear bias. We want everything to align. You want to expect the setup beforehand. And 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, I was still expecting new low for this downtrend. So something changes this quickly, that's generally a sign that, you know, you're not really reading it correctly, because you're supposed to be expecting the setup beforehand. Market eventually went higher, so I'm going to redraw. First leg up, break, second leg up. Also, I can see right now that we have key level at the top, key level at the bottom. This is a trend range, definitely flat EMA, consistent trend range. Market created new extreme, almost perfect measured move. So this like played out with the break new extreme. There's a potential failed breakout, actually quite far away from the EMA. You know, you can consider taking failed breakout like this. Ideally, you would like to see failed second entry long below EMA, new high, first entry long. Can we get a failed second entry long? And there was no failed second entry long. By the time we get a failed second entry long, it's just too far down, too far from the EMA. It's just too late. Remember, it needs to form here. You want to be part of the failed second entry long move. You don't want to chase it after the leg down already formed. It needed to form around this area. Downtrend needs to get new extreme. New low, first entry short. Second entry short, but right now it's getting way too late and downtrend created new extreme. So this is the overall structure for today. I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope you had a good trading day. I'm gonna talk to you next time. Good luck with your trading.